listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. I'm delighted I get to be part of your day today. And I'm delighted that this episode is brought to us by Aquasheep, who left a review on iTunes that reads, Jeanette brings a new, enthusiastic, and fun perspective to LOA. Her podcast is delightful to listen to and provides helpful and new manifesting strategies. You know why I like that review so much, Aquasheep? Because when I started my business years ago, I can't remember who I learned this from, but I created an acronym that was designed to help keep me on track with what I wanted to do with my business. You know what? This is kind of related to our podcast episode topic today, sort of. Anyway, the acronym that I created was FUIE. It was F-U-I-E, and it was designed to make sure that everything that I created was in alignment with what I wanted it to be. And what FUIE stood for was fun, uplifting, inspiring. And the E wasn't enthusiastic. What was it? It wasn't enlightening. FUIE. I'm not doing it if it's not fun, uplifting, inspiring, and empowering. That was it. The E was empowering. Oh, yeah. So anyway, I really like that review. Thank you, Aquasheep. And I like what we're talking about today. Our subject today is inspired not just by some of my own past experiences, but I see this occasionally with fellow creators, and that is when success makes muggles out of us, which might sound really strange. I'm talking about how this weird thing sometimes happens when we conscious creators use our manifesting powers to create what we want. Not always, but sometimes we stop being so conscious with our creations after that. Like we forget the LOA habits that got us there in the first place, and we start muggling our way through life. Like you would think it would have the opposite effect, right? That successfully manifesting what we wanted, it would make us more inspired to engage the alignment practices that brought that win about. But it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes after we get the perfect job, or we move into our dream house, or we find ourselves arm in arm with our true love, we abandon the conscious creation ways that got us there. Like we forget to appreciate, or we don't bother to pre-pave or intend anymore. We leave behind those scripting sessions that served us so well, or those affirming statements that got us in alignment, because we got what we wanted, and now we're focused on the new thing that we just manifested. And we replace our Abraham workshops with Audible books, or we let go of our visioning for observing instead, or actioning. And that's fine, for a while. Because for a while, we're still riding out the momentum of all those previous good vibes that we activated. But eventually, we might find ourselves wondering why life isn't going as smoothly, why things aren't going as well as they used to. Like we'll notice our days they've got more struggle in them than we like. And life just doesn't feel as magical as it did. And that's when we might realize that we aren't doing that thing we used to do that got us to this win. Back when we wanted something so much that we were willing to use our best magical practices to bring it about. Remember how motivated we were to use all our best magic? And then we got it. And then we're skating, but it's so easy to return to our muggle ways. This happened to me when you've maybe heard me tell this story before, when I was building my coaching practice, and that was a big desire. It mattered a lot to me. And I was doing everything in the book. I might have been overworking it. But I had a lot of gremlins that needed taming. So I was doing things like I was pray rain journaling for sure every day. I was affirming, I'm a brilliant coach in high demand. Whenever I'd hear that gremlin thought that would say, uh-oh, this isn't going to work, you're going to have to get a job, I would replace it with, no, that's not what I'm creating. What I'm creating is, I'm a brilliant coach in high demand. And I did things like looking at my empty calendar my empty email inbox, no voicemail messages. I would do things like I would write in appointments for people that didn't exist. On empty files, I would just write names. People I had no prospects, I had no inquiries. I was totally making it up, but I was doing everything I could to try to feel like a coach instead of being nervous that I wasn't ever going to be a coach. So I was pulling out every trick in the book that I could think of. That's a slight exaggeration, but I was doing a lot of alignment work. And then I built a full-time practice in like 3 months. When I originally started, I thought full-time would be 10 clients, but then I was like, oh, I could totally do 15. I could do that. And so there I was. And then 15 grew to 20, and then it got to more than that. I think I got up to like 23. I don't think I quite got up to 25 before I realized this is way too many clients. But so all my stuff was working. And I was like, what are all these coaches talking about how hard this is? This was simple. This was easy. I was feeling a little cocky. And I had a ton of clients. I mean, I had more than I could actually really easily work with. And I stopped doing all my alignment practices that were bringing them to me. I'm laughing now in hindsight. At the time, it's not like I made a conscious decision, like stop all that. But I was like, ta-da, I'm there. And I was kind of proud of myself. And I was like, I don't know why everyone else is thinking this is so hard. This was super easy. And time passed, and what happened was that, you know what else I was doing? One thing I was doing, I was reading my perfect client list. I didn't mean to make this a long story, but I was reading my perfect client list that I learned from Attracting Perfect Customers by Stacey Hall. And it's 4 lists. The first list is traits, qualities, and characteristics of your perfect client. The second list is what makes your perfect client tick. And the third list is what your perfect client expects from you. Anyway, that's another way that I was getting dialed on calling in clients, because reading that list helped me vibrate clients instead of vibrating, I hope I get clients, or what if I don't get any clients, or where are the clients? So anyway, after I got all the clients and I stopped doing this stuff, after a couple weeks, I noticed I wasn't getting as many inquiries as I used to. And the ones that I was getting, they weren't as perfect for me as they used to be. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's different? When I looked at what's different, it's like, hello, everything's different. I stopped all the stuff that was calling in my perfect clients. And so I was like, Jeanette. So I picked it up again. I picked up reading my perfect client list. And I don't know if I started another journal, but I definitely made sure to be aware of any contrary thoughts and replace them with aligning thoughts. And it didn't take too long before I was back on track with inquiries, the number that I liked from amazing people that I would love to work with. And what I realized in that process was that it is an ongoing process. You know, I probably did that for a full year before I stopped reading that perfect client list. I got to the point where I didn't even have to open my eyes to read it or look at it on my board in my office because I had the thing memorized. It was strongly ingrained in me. It became a default vibration, so much so that by the time I did stop reading it, I'd been doing that for so long that that's just how it was for me. It was a default vibration. It wasn't something that I needed to worry about slipping through my fingers again. But that was many, many, many years ago. But I have done it since then. Like when, I'm manifesting a new relationship, you know how you're visioning how amazing it's going to be, like how much you enjoy this new person, what fun you have together, and all these fabulous things you love about your new partner. Yeah. Well, I was doing all that stuff to call in one of the ones. And then when he got there, I stopped doing that because he's there, right? He's there. Hello. And instead of thinking things like, I know one of the traits I was calling in was, I had previously been with someone who, like this guy, I don't know how long I should tell this story. Maybe we don't need to hear that part. But I had in the last relationship, I had manifested that someone just loved and adored me so much. Like I was I was really, really cool in his world. Okay, I don't remember the exact words, but what I ended up with was someone who wasn't quite a stalker, but kind of sort of felt like I was the sun rose and set with me. It felt like a lot of pressure that he was so dialed on me that it was uncomfortable. So anyway, with my next relationship, I was like, this is a guy who has his own interests, his own friends, his own hobbies. And like he knew how to enjoy life. He wasn't dependent on me for it. And I was, of course, intending that he was super attractive and that, he's optimistic in life. So I ended up attracting a guy who, sure enough, he had his own thing going on. He had a lot of things he enjoyed doing. And it wasn't too long before I was like, wow, dude, you play a lot of golf. Or sometimes like when we'd be getting ready to go out somewhere, like that guy would take longer to get ready than I would. And I'm the girl. And anyway, that's what happened. Like when I was getting deliberate about calling him in, I was focused on fabulous things. And then he got there. And then I started to not be so deliberate about how I was focusing. And my attention started to slip towards those things that I didn't love so much. Same thing when I moved into my dream house. This was just a couple years ago when, I was manifesting the most amazing light, like windows everywhere, beautiful views, just a house that I absolutely loved and adored everything about, close to nature, just amazing things. Okay, so then I got here and oh my gosh, not only was it all that, it was more than that. It was fabulous. I still love it, but there was a time, I love it now because I caught what was happening. What happened after I'd been here for, could have been a couple weeks, maybe several weeks, couple months, several weeks, I started noticing some things that I didn't super love, like in the morning when the sun shines through the office windows. They're gigantic windows, and there's blinds on the lower half, but on the top half, they're like an odd shape, so blinds don't fit up there. And even if I could get blinds up there, I don't know how I could reach up there to close them. Anyway, there's no blinds. And that morning sun for the first hour or two at certain times of the year, it's too bright to comfortably work in the office. I mean, it's like you either can't see your screen or it's shining right in your face. It's like annoying. See how easy it is? See how I just elaborated on that really well? That's what I was starting to do. I was starting to elaborate on what I didn't love. Like, hello, that wind blowing off those mountains at certain times of the day, just certain times of the year. It's totally perfect most of the year. But there's a season and a time of day where it can get really windy. And my front porch, I love sitting on the front porch, but you know what? It's not that big. So if you get a couple dogs and a friend and a couple cats, I could use a bigger front porch, truth is. And just starting to focus on those things, releasing my alignment habits that brought this amazing place to me. Once you stop doing that, it's like turning the magic off. If you start letting your focus slip, and this is what I don't mean to talk about muggles. I don't want to create the other. I think all of us have a little muggle in us, some of us more so, and I might be talking about myself right now as I tell all these stories. We have some muggle tendencies where we don't engage the power of our focus to support our best life. And if we do that for too long, we can ruin a good thing. We can ruin that relationship. We can turn a dream house into a house that we'd maybe like to leave one day or that needs a lot of work. Or we can drive clients away or only attract ones that make us rethink our decision to be a coach. There's all sorts of ways that when we give up the magic that brought us what we wanted, that we can spoil that success. So I'm just mentioning this for anyone who might be in that boat and hasn't yet realized that you put your magic down for a minute. For the sake of your next manifesting win, let's not let that minute last too long. That's my manifesting tip for today. Hope you found some value there, and I'm going to go record some more podcasts. 8 reviews. I'm going to go bust out 8 podcasts in a row. Don't worry, I won't publish them all on the same day. But yeah, we got some podcasts coming. Thanks for being here, everyone. Big love.